Then I went to Antilon Lake, which is by Chelan, and now you get into the dry zone. So I went through a place called Leavenworth, which is like this like crazy Bavarian themed town. I was like, what is this? And it was super touristy. Like I couldn't even believe it. It was smoking hot by that point too. Like the heat had just cranked up. It was killing hot. But yeah, this weird German-esque town. I don't have any footage of it, but it's weird. Check it out if you ever get a chance. Leavenworth, Washington. Weird, like themed German town. And then I got to Chelan, which is like sort of, well, I was trying to get, actually Lake Chelan, I was trying to get to one side of it, but the forest fires had kicked in by this point. And so I was traveling on the highway and I was trying to get there, and they'd blocked off one way to get to it, so I tried to go this other way. I have this footage of like this helicopter coming down to get water out of the river or Lake Chelan, I can't remember what it was, and it's all smoky sky. That was awesome. But I couldn't get to the site I wanted to, so I said I went to Antilon, which was sort of what I was planning to do in the first place before I'd done more research into these other sites. And Antilon was like crazy dry, and it was more like kind of like a teenage party spot, but it was pretty spread out, so it didn't matter. Like I asked these teenage boys when I was getting up there, like, well, where's the thing? And they were like, oh, it's over here, whatever. So I found my spot. It was good. Crazy hot and dry, so much like Kamloops. I got some footage of that. And I did this crazy hike, like 15-mile hike. I walked probably 22 miles that day, just all the walking I did, but that's a 15-mile hike way up top into like an area where, even though it was super dry, like Kamloops in a weird rocky terrain, I got to like this green forest. And my phone for weather it read Metau, which is this valley, and that turned out to be later on where all the fires were coming from, mainly, and that's supposed to be like a super gorgeous spot. So if you're ever checking out Washington and the trees grow back, Metau Valley, I've never been there, but apparently it's like paradise. It's like the place you want to go in central East Washington. But yeah, so I did this crazy hike up top, and I ran into these deer. I put up a video of it on Facebook the other day, other week, couple months ago, whatever the hell. By the time this video posts, probably 17 million years ago. And this baby deer like kept coming towards me. I was like not afraid of me, and I was kind of like, "What are you doing, dude? Like, chill out." So I can show you that too. Yeah, and I think that's probably all I got about Antilon. And then the next one I went to was Leader Lake, and that one is closer to Okanogan. They spell it different in the States, and Omak, and it was a Department of Natural Resource site. So I think you're supposed to have a discovery pass to go there, but online it had said it was free, so I just went. Spent 3 nights there, and it was still like super raging hot, and that place was the most like Kamloops of anywhere I've ever been on the trip. It was like the hills were just like sort of that Knutsford, Dufferin-esque like kind of, it was unbelievable. I've got footage of that. It was so cool, and that was a good site, but it was so crazy hot, so I'd go in during the day into Okanagan or Omak and like use their libraries, and then there was a spot in the river by the Stampede grounds in Omak where I'd go swimming, and that was awesome. And then right across from that in Omak, there's this, it's called the Suicide Race. There's this crazy steep hill that goes down into the river, kind of like from JP to KSS, that downhill right above the football field, kind of like that, but more smoothed out. And they'd have horse races where they ride their horses down it, and then horses through the river to the Stampede grounds, and whoever can get there first. And I was just like, oh my god, there must be like a lot of broken legs on horses, like this crazy steep hill. So that was kind of like my time at Leader. It was actually a lot spent in Omak and Okanogan. Oh yeah, and because I hadn't gone any swimming by that point for like 5-6 nights when I got to Okanogan or Omak the first time, and it had been so hot and I'd been doing a lot of hiking, I was like covered in like a layer of like sweat, salt, and just dirt. Like I was just like gross, like almost like it insulated the heat in me. It was just gross. So when I got in that river the first time, like after I was clean, I was just like, oh my god, I couldn't believe how good it felt. Like it was crazy. So I was just like, thank you for that river. Yeah, so that was the story of like Leader Lake, Antilon, the Pequot, and then I'll head into Crawfish, Sun Cove, and Lyman. And Sun Cove is kind of where I ran into my family, and we hung out for a few days. So I'll give you that in just a second.